another session. And this Friday, we have the beautiful Elspeth Dale with us from Three Left Feet. Hi, Elspeth.
Hello.
So let's dive straight into it. We had some technical difficulties again today. Really, at this point, honestly, it's become a weekly thing now. Anyway, so I'm just gonna introduce Three Left Feet to everyone. So Three Left Feet is a theatre company, and they strive to rethink storytelling by producing spellbinding collaborative theatre, which transforms and transports audiences beyond their reality. That's pretty cool.
Thank you.
So, Elspeth, tell us a bit about yourself and what motivated you to start your company.
So, hello, I'm Elspeth. I studied theatre and German at Lancaster Uni, and then I did a master's in translation. But my passion forever has been theatre and the arts, like going to drama club when I was little and then doing it at GCSE, at A-level, at uni, blah blah. And I always wanted to work in theatre, and I didn't really know what capacity, but I always thought that having a theatre company that was mine would be really cool, because then you can do essentially whatever you want. You can put on whatever you want, you can work with whoever you want, you get to decide all of that. And I had this in the back of my mind going through uni and stuff and thinking about careers, but I didn't really know what was going to come of it until I worked with Lara, who is the other company director and the other founder. And we did a show together. We did 12th Night, and it was outside in Williamson Park. And we had a really great time doing it. And that, I think, just before that happened, and then I sought out work in progress at the uni to be like, hey, could I start a theatre company? Or what would that be like? Like, I don't really know what I'm doing. And they were like, yeah, do it. Here's some advice. Here are some ideas. Here's a bunch of enthusiasm for you. And I was like, okay. So then I was like, hey, Lara, do you want to start a theatre company? And she was like, okay. So that's why we did it, basically, because we thought it would be really fun, and it would mean we could work ultimately in a sector that we really love.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I'm also, well, I've always also been passionate about drama. Surprise. So I did a lot of drama when I was in high school, and we use it as an excuse to cut classes. Sorry if any of my teachers are watching this. But yeah, it's always also been a passion of mine, and I love drama and theatre and all that. So tell us, what about drama that really that you find so attracted to? What is it about drama that you love so much?
I think it's sort of two things. That I really love storytelling and taking stories, crafting stories, sharing stories on the one side. And then on the other side, I really love the live experience. Ironic. And the sort of sensual experience of theatre, the sort of the sights, the sounds, even sometimes the smells, that sort of experience side and the story side. I think it comes together really beautifully in theatre, as well actually as this mash of different types of arts, because you have music that gets brought in, you get, you know, writing that gets brought in, often art and like makeup, all these different areas of the arts all come together to make a production, and it's so collaborative, which is just, I love that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And tell us about Three Left Feet. And I know you guys did a show in Waterstones in the shop. But that's different to what traditional theatre is like. Can you tell us a bit about what your approach is?
So in a way, I feel like our approach is quite traditional, but then quite non-traditional on the other side, because we like to make theatre that entertains, and take really juicy stories and show them to the audience in an enjoyable way, which I think is the sort of traditional aim of theatre. But on the other hand, we like seeing theatre in places that you wouldn't necessarily normally see it. I love seeing theatre in the theatre as well. That works for me. But I think it's really exciting to see it in these unusual places like a bookshop or outside in the park, or the other show we did was in the Maritime Museum, in this room that made it look like you were under the decks of a boat.
Oh, wow.
I think that's just something really exciting and about seeing theatre in spaces that you wouldn't expect to normally, that sort of brings the audience into the story a bit more even. And it also, we think, gives the opportunity for people who might not see themselves as people who belong in a theatre, like, oh, I don't go to theatre, theatre's not for me. But if it's in a place that they would go, like a bookshop or a park, then maybe they'll like to try it out, because I think theatre can be for everyone. There can be something for everyone, and it's just finding what you enjoy. So that's kind of our approach, I think.
Yeah, I agree. What an interesting approach. And I think I was part of one of the Duke's Williamson Park play.
Yeah.
I think it was I forgot what it was now. I think it was Oliver Twist or something like that, which they had in the park. And I think that's just such a fantastic concept. But could you tell us a bit about how the Dukes, are they like a direct competition to your company? Are you guys working in collaboration? What is your business model in that sense?
So we actually have a really nice relationship with the Dukes. I work there part-time as well, and we know the senior management team quite well, and I've actually often gone to people who work at the Dukes for advice, because they have a wealth of knowledge and they've had longer in the industry. They have experience of marketing, of reaching audiences, of working with schools, all this sort of thing. And I think what they offer is it's really well established. They have these yearly shows, the Christmas show, the park show, which people know and love, and they have a building. So they're sort of a really solid part of the local art scene. Whereas we, I think, sort of fill a different niche, because we're a little company. We're sort of happy to pick up and go wherever we need to go or want to go for whatever production or project we're working on, which allows us to work with people like the Dukes, or to work in totally different places, which means that, so we did a little commission with the Dukes over lockdown. We made some shadow puppetry and the Dukes commissioned that. We're hoping to work with the Dukes in future, because they're really lovely to work with. But yeah, we've also done things that were in these weird places that the Dukes hasn't traditionally put theatre in. And I think that because of that, we also offer totally different things as well. So I don't actually feel like we're direct competition. If we like erected a theatre right next door and we're like, this is the 3 Left Feet theatre building, I think it would be a bit different.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the times we think of other companies who actually do the same things as we do as direct competition, but actually if we can find a way to collaborate and to share resources, and well, especially as a startup, you're able to be so much more flexible. And I think that is that can be a really good symbiotic relationship for the long run. It's fantastic that you have established that kind of relationship with the Duke's Theatre in Lancaster. So tell us a bit about when you were first starting up. How did you raise the funds you need for your business, and how crucial was that for the early stages in your business?
That is a good question. So because especially with a theatre company and other events companies, where it's not a product that's constantly available and people are buying, so there's like a constant flow of cash, it's you're making something, then you put it out to the public, and there's a short time where they can pay for tickets or whatever it may be. And then once that's over, the cash flow stops again. So you need money at the start to plow into a production so that you can then, a few months down the line, bring in the money from it, which makes starting up really, really hard financially, but not impossible by any means. So what we did initially, I just put my own money in, not loads, just a bit, to buy the essentials that we needed to start
like
crafting
and all that, costumes.
Yeah, exactly, like fabric for costumes and stuff like that. While we were thinking about, where are we going to go for funding? I wouldn't necessarily recommend putting your own money in, because you don't have the guarantee of getting it back. I did, so it was fine. But that was mostly because we then found a source of funding. So we actually got funding through ClickSargent. They had this grant called Thrive, Not Just Survive, and it's for children and young people who've gone through cancer, because actually both me and the other company director, Lara, we've both had cancer in our young years. We're both fine now, but it meant that we were eligible to apply for this grant, and it's to further your career or your educational development. So I asked for this money to go towards this theatre company that we had set up, and we got it, which was amazing because it covered the budgets for our first 2 productions and allowed us to put them on. And that was about £5,000, and it was covering rehearsal space, it was covering materials. This wasn't even covering wages, to clarify. I think it's important for people to know, because wages, when you haven't started a business or you don't know about business, you wouldn't realise the huge proportion of funds that goes on paying people. And when you're just starting out, it's almost impossible to do it. So we've all been doing it as a labour of love thus far. And we're now at a stage where we need to apply for funding again. And I think that's pretty much the nature at the moment of working in the arts, the creative sector, in the theatre business. It's often a case of applying for funding for a project, either receiving it or not getting it and applying elsewhere. And it's not easy, and we're not really like experts on it yet either, but that's sort of the lay of the land. Although I will say that we're hoping to set up an event, a festival, an arts festival, which was supposed to happen this summer, but obviously COVID-19 got in the way. And we're hoping it will happen next summer. And we want to make that a big event that can grow year on year and happen annually. And a festival is super different to a performance in terms of capacity of how many tickets you can sell, because you're limited with a theatre production by the space you're in. You might only be able to fit 30 people in, so you can only sell 30 tickets, and then however many performances you're allowed to have, so you might be able to sell 120 in total, and that's it. But it's different with a festival. So a festival can bring in a lot more cash than a performance. And that's not the reason we want to do the festival. There's much more like holistic and community benefiting reasons that we want to do it.
It's not all about the money, Elspeth.
Not all about the money. If it was all about the money, we wouldn't have started a theatre company. But hopefully that will be a bit of a cash cow for us that will pay for itself year on year, and hopefully be able to pay us to do other projects during the year. So that's kind of our funding journey at the moment.
So that kind of brings it into nicely my next question, which is about COVID-19. As you mentioned, you had a whole plan of this amazing festival, but obviously that can't go on right now. So tell us, when do you plan to have this festival, and also how has COVID impacted your business, and how have you responded to that?
So yes, as we've mentioned, we had the festival planned. We also had a big summer production of A Midsummer Night's Dream, also happening in the park, planned for the summer just gone, May and June. But obviously that was height of the pandemic, and we thought to begin with, we were keeping positive. We were like, no, it'll all be gone by then, we'll be fine to go ahead. But it became quite quickly apparent that that was not the case. So we took the decision to fully postpone it to hopefully next summer, rather than trying to sort of half do it at the end of this summer. We were like, no, we'll leave it this year, spend longer working on it, try and deliver it next summer, hopefully around June. We've got no confirmed dates yet, but we're working on it. And the same with the performance. We're hoping to do A Midsummer Night's Dream because we've got the cast, we've got the costumes, we just haven't performed it yet. So we're sort of just picking that up and dropping that into next year as well. So yeah, our first response to the crisis in terms of being able to deliver the things we wanted to is simply postponing it and hoping that things are a little bit better summer next year. Then what we did was we held a little virtual arts festival. So we contacted the people who'd applied to perform at the live one, and asked if they'd like to perform in a virtual one. So we had all sorts of people. We had theatre makers, dancers, singers, musicians, artists, photographers, weavers, you name it. And I think we had about 20 to 25 performances lined up throughout the day for the virtual one. We had more for the live one, but we managed to assemble 20 to 25 performances and held it on Facebook. We shared videos or posts of people's work at time slots throughout the day, kind of like a festival lineup. And that was really nice to do, and it went down really well. I think we had 2,500 people engage with it at some point during the day. So it was a nice little homage to the people who had wanted to showcase their work and now weren't getting the chance, and we didn't think it would be fair to let it slip away and not show people what they could do. Hopefully they'll come back next year in real life, but we did that as a sort of a mini, like a backup plan, just so to give people a little something to do, to show their work or to watch people's work, because it was taken away from them to do it in person. And then other than that, we've done little like online solutions to performances, because live performance couldn't happen. So we thought about how can we create live performance-esque things online. So we did the shadow puppetry with the Dukes. We did a workshop a little bit like this chat with Leica at Lancaster, and we started a little bedtime story reading series that we've been posting weekly, just to try and keep people engaged, to keep our minds engaged and being creative. We've got another little performance coming out in a couple of weeks' time. So that's sort of how we've stayed like active during lockdown. Luckily for us, being so small, being so new, and not having actual employees, and everyone being voluntary thus far, which we're hoping to change in the very near future to pay people for their work, including ourselves. But it meant that it didn't blow up in our faces when the pandemic hit, because we didn't have overheads to pay, we didn't have staff to furlough, and we didn't really we hadn't paid out money that we weren't going to get back on productions. We lost ticket income, but there wasn't too much paid out that wasn't coming back, because we can do it next year, hopefully. So we were in quite a good position. And now we're looking to the future, looking at what sort of work we can produce and when it's going to be viable to do it. So we're hoping to create some more filmed puppetry to screen or share in the winter. And then we're looking at next year, when can we start to bring performances back? Particularly outdoor work is good because of distancing. So that works well for us with the festival and with the show. So yeah, we're just adapting with each new thing that comes, just rolling with the punches. Yeah.
Yeah, I have one question regarding the online performance that you mentioned on Facebook. So how does that work? Is that, like you said, the people who are supposed to perform live, you've got them to come online to perform. Is that where they read out the monologues, or how does that work as an online performance?
So it depended on the person. Some people already had photographs that they wanted to share, so they just sent their material to us and we shared it at a certain time on the event day on Facebook. It was a Facebook event page and we shared posts to the page. Some people did, there was an improvisation troupe who filmed a comedy improv on a Zoom and then sent that to us to share. There was a poet who went and filmed her work in the park and then sent us the film and we shared that. And we had one live music set as well, so someone went live from their home playing the guitar, singing. Yeah, so that was how it worked. People sent us the material or went live on the event page, and it happened throughout the day. Like every 15 minutes something else went up. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, what is moving forward then, like talking about the vision that you have for your company? What is your short-term and your long-term goals that you have set for Three Left Feet?
Oh, a good question. I think our short-term goals are kind of to find our feet again in light of the pandemic, and to secure funding for projects from whatever funding body it need be it the Arts Council or Paul Hamlyn Fund. There are many. So short-term goal is to pay people for the work, pay ourselves for the work. That feels like the logical next step. Like we've had a year trying things out, seeing how it works, learning from mistakes, learning from successes, and now it's like, okay, this is a business. We'll find a way to pay people for their work, and we'll all take it that little bit more seriously. We take it seriously, but it's also fun. But we're like, okay, how do we make this company grow? So that's sort of the short-term thing, is pay people, get funding, pay people, and get back on our feet after the pandemic, start producing some work for people, because people are going to be desperate for the arts. They've been shut in their houses, not much to do, so we need to provide that for people. Long-term goals, yeah, it's about growth, really. Growth and sustainability. We would like to, through productions, start to make a little pot of money, so we've got a buffer and we can dive into that to produce work. And then we want to grow as a company and to grow our sort of repertoire of associates. So the way we think about working, as we say, we like to make collaborative work. So that includes artists, actors, musicians, composers, etc. We'd like to grow the pool of people that we work with. So we have like a list of all these different skills that we can go to, be like, oh, we really need someone to build us a mountain, and then we'll go on our list and we're like, oh, that great set builder, we'll contact them. Just, yeah, and to spread our tendrils into the local art scene and make a little name for ourselves. I'd say that's our mini long-term goal.
yeah, and a pretty good one, I'd say. So let me just check the time. Okay, so we've got a few more minutes left. So what is your advice for people who are interested in the art scene, who are creative but have no way of expressing their creativity? How can people contact you? And are you at the moment looking for anyone to help support your business in any way, shape or form? Or what is your advice on someone who is thinking possibly about starting an arts company in this climate?
Okay, so in answer to the first question, if you're an artist or creative and you want to make work in a sort of more professional capacity, my advice is to collaborate with people, join with the people that you know who are also creative, and make work together. Ask people already working in the industry. People are afraid of asking questions, and I don't know why, because I ask questions all the time. It's how I know anything ever. So like I ask people at Lancaster Arts, I ask people at the Dukes, I ask people from other theatre companies, I ask creatives who I know. I've got a mentor who's part of another well-established theatre company who I'm working with at the moment, and it's so helpful. So ask questions of people who know the answers. People will not be mad at you for asking. I would not be mad if someone came and asked, not that I'm a font of knowledge, if someone messaged me and was like, oh, I want to start a theatre company, what do I do? I wouldn't be like, don't talk to me. Like, I would want to help. So people want to help. Ask questions, join together with people that you know, and just do it. Just create the work, just make stuff. We're absolute typical creatives that will just do it for the love of it. Or like, oh, I don't care if I don't make any money, I'll just do it anyway. So just do it and the money will come. Yeah, that's my advice to people that want to start in the creative sector. Don't be afraid. The society and government tell us to be afraid of the arts. Don't, just do it. Believe in yourself. My second question, wait, what was the second part of the question?
So people who want to start a company in the art scene in this climate.
Yes. Well, for starters, it won't be easy, but in a way, it's a good time to start because, like I said, with us being so small, we haven't been hugely financially impacted by everything. I think people will need arts, they'll need culture. So now might be a good time to start. Funding might be tight. There might be a lot of competition. I think if you go in knowing that it's not going to be easy, and you're not just going to get discovered by the Arts Council and they'll be like, oh, please be a national portfolio organisation. If you know it's going to be hard graft, then I don't think that you should be put off starting just because now is a difficult time to start. It's hard to advise because we don't know what's happening one day to the next, but as long as you're willing to be flexible, to be adaptable, expect challenges and be ready to face them, then that's fine. In terms of practical advice, if you're a Lancaster University student, go to work in progress. Please go to work in progress, because I heard about them years ago. It must have been like 2-3 years ago when I went to a careers appointment, and they were called the Enterprise Service or something. And I was like, oh yeah, sounds good, and sort of just never went. And then recently, just before I started the company, I was like, oh, I'll just go, I'll just see. And I went to a drop-in. It was on a Friday with a guy called Richard, who was lovely. He was like a cheerleader for business. I felt like an idiot because I was like, oh, but I'm all creative and theatrical, they're gonna laugh me out the door. And they were like, ooh, how exciting, no, that sounds really interesting, and sent me on this path of business discovery because I didn't have a clue. I had no idea how businesses worked. I didn't know how to start one. I didn't know how to get money. I didn't know anything. And now I like to think that I know a base level, that I could explain the very basic workings of business to people. And that's only because I went to work in progress. So they were fantastic, and still are fantastic business mentors. And there's someone who knows the answer to everything. And if they don't, they'll find you someone who does. Which comes back to the asking questions advice. If you don't know something, go and find someone who does and ask them, because that's how we learn.
Yeah, that's very true. Words of wisdom from Elspeth. I guess, the two main takeaways from what you've just said is really to manage your expectations when you're starting out. Don't. There is this reality to everything that we do, and then there's this like pretty side to everything that we do. And I guess starting a company, if you hear that from someone, you think, oh my God, like, you know, they're so capable, they're doing so well, they're like starting this amazing startup, and you know, but the reality is that there can be a lot of disappointment, a lot of struggles. And I think, like you said, it is very important to manage your expectations in the very first few days of starting your company, because you don't want to set your bar up too high, and then when it comes crashing down, you just be too devastated to pick yourself up again.
Yeah,
that is the reality of it.
As long as people know that there are going to be challenges, then you're fine. But famously, most businesses don't make money within 1, 2, or even 3 years. So it's hard. It's a hard road, but if you're willing to do it, then it's great.
Yeah. Like you said, it's a labor of love in the first few years at least. Yeah. And also the second point was to just ask questions. If you don't know the answer to something, just go to someone who does, message them on LinkedIn, send them an email. They're most likely going to reply you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's fantastic advice, Elspeth. Thank you so much for joining us today. We've learned so much from your stories, and I hope our viewers will take some valuable advice with them today. I know I've learned a lot from you. So don't forget, anyone who's watching, to join our private group where we will be supporting you. We will be helping you with any questions you may have. Please don't feel shy to post anything on there. And I will also be posting regularly on there as well, on tips and anything to help you manage your business. So that's it from us today, really. If you have any questions at all, please message the group or just put it in the comments and I'll try to reply them as soon as I can.
If you have any questions for me specifically or for 3 Left Feet, message us or email us. We will answer. We'd be happy to answer.
Yes. So if that's everything, then thank you guys for watching. And
thank you for having me.
Oh, it was great fun. Had loads of fun. Thank you guys for watching. Take care and stay tuned for our next session. Thank you all. Bye.